Starting a business is risky, plain and simple. If you want a no-risk income stream, you can go out and get a job helping somebody else build their entrepreneurial dream. But as it turns out, all business opportunities are not created equally. The riskiest business ideas to start with the lowest success rate include opening a restaurant, getting into the construction business, and starting a mining operation. But what about the lowest risk business ideas with the highest rate of success? We're going to be covering exactly that, starting off with the first low-risk business idea, which is running a laundromat. Now, going out and launching a brand new laundromat is going to be on the riskier side, as you need to find a location, build it from the ground up, and also make sure there is demand for that in the given area. But what's a lot less risky is going out and buying a laundromat that is already fully operational, which is what most people do getting into this business. However, the downside to this business is the high upfront investment. The average initial investment here is $200,000. Aside from repairs and maintenance to the machines, there's almost no labor cost involved. Most laundromats out there operate with just one staff member who normally takes care of a wash and fold service that you can offer as an upsell. For example, here's one for sale for $119,000 with annual cash flow of $36,000 or about $3,000 per month. While you do have to set aside money for repairs and the eventual replacement of your machinery, the cash-on-cash return for the laundromat business is extremely high. But if you don't have a lot of capital up front, the next business might be for you. Becoming a courier or being in the business of delivering things to people also has an extremely low failure rate. While having your own van is recommended, it's not necessarily required to get started. uship.com is one of the largest marketplaces out there for connecting carriers with shippers, and you can find shipping opportunities there that you can fulfill with a personal vehicle. For example, I set this to shipments with a maximum weight of 100 pounds. Here's someone looking to ship a rear door for a Tesla across the state of Florida, for example, and you could fulfill that with a small personal vehicle. Or an alternative strategy would be to simply rent a van if you have a day where you have a lot of moves that are lined up. Since you're essentially leveraging just your time, labor, and your vehicle, there isn't much risk involved here, and the failure rate is extremely low. Here's another business with a very low failure rate, the vending machine business. Now, similar to the laundromat business, going out and starting this from scratch is going to be on the riskier side. However, you can actually buy into an existing vending machine business by purchasing a vending machine route. For example, here's a 3-machine route that's listed on LoopNet. The ask price is $47,500 and the annual cash flow is $31,500. While you might need to keep track of inventory and restocking yourself in order to have the highest profit margin, you can often find opportunities where the cash flow generated will pay for the entire business within just 2 or 3 years. Another example you could follow is going out and buying ATM machines or purchasing an ATM machine route. These can also sell relatively cheap compared to the cash flow generated, and you can reinvest your profits over time to grow the route. Next up, we have the business of rental property investing. Now, most people don't think of this as a business, but if you want to be successful at it, you need to treat it like a business. This means setting up a separate LLC, tracking all of your expenses, and so forth. As long as you're not getting into real estate flips or overpaying for properties, building a rental property business has a very low failure rate. There are millions of people who have done the exact same thing before you, and you can follow their exact blueprint. The rental property business is really about getting the right systems in place and then reinvesting your profits over time. The only downside here is the high upfront capital investment. These days, you'll need about $100,000 to get your first rental property in most areas, assuming that you're looking for a 2 to 4 unit property. And you might want to be careful with the single family rental game, as you don't have any diversification with your tenants. Simply put, if you get one bad tenant who isn't paying you rent, there goes all of your rental income from that property. We'll get right to our next business idea, but first, a word from our sponsor. Whether you have a business already or are just starting out, a website is the most important part of your growth journey. But a website is useless if nobody finds it, and that largely comes down to your domain name, the most important part. A perfect domain name today works across all industries and also demonstrates the presence of the business. That's why it's time to check out .online domains, the world's world's second biggest new domain name extension with over 3 million registrations. Check out this small business owner from Kentucky whose website is southernbliss.online. This women's boutique sells out of 2 storefronts but also sells their items online, and this is perfectly represented through the .online domain name. Another example is Creative Geeks, a marketing agency whose website is creativegeeks.online. Most of their services are offered right online to a global customer base, making this a perfect fit for a .online domain name. If you're ready to start your .online business journey, you can grab your .online domain name today on GoDaddy, Namecheap, Wix, and countless other providers. But if you want the best deal possible, click the sponsored link in the description below to pay just 99 cents for the first year of registration. Just be sure to use discount code Ryan. .online domains is the perfect domain name for all types of businesses, so don't forget to register yours today. Now let's get back to the video. Let's circle back to the rental property business. One of the biggest headaches with that is managing the day-to-day operations. That's why a lot of real estate investors will hire a property manager, and that is actually our very next low-risk business idea. In addition, this also comes with the benefit of teaching you the ins and outs of the real estate business should you want to get into it yourself at a later date. An alternative option, which might be more popular depending on where you live, is managing short-term rentals. These companies take care of the communication and the turnover associated with doing Airbnb. A lot of property managers out there are focused on the big players with the massive rental portfolios. So when you're starting out, you can tailor your service to the little guys who might have a small handful of properties or potentially just one. As they grow their rental portfolio, you can grow with them by managing the properties they acquire. Now, if you don't want to spend any money up front or start a complicated business, starting a simple service business could be the way to go. For example, if you become a dog walker, you can leverage apps such as Wag, which connect millions of pet owners with pet sitters as well as dog walkers. This means that you don't have to advertise your service. Instead, you can tap into an existing marketplace of people looking for that exact thing. Or let's say you offer a pool cleaning business. When you start out, you could specify that your customers need to supply you with the chlorine, other chemicals, and the pool skimmer. Then all you have to do is show up on a routine schedule, take care of the pool cleaning, and move on to your next client. Most of these simple service-based businesses have a startup cost of close to $0. For that reason, the risk is extremely low, possibly even non-existent, making the failure rate equally as low. However, a lot of these businesses do get overlooked because they can be boring. But keep in mind, these boring yet consistent businesses have turned tons of average people into millionaires over the years. And finally, we have our last category of businesses that almost never fail, and that is becoming a gig worker. Now, some would argue this is basically the same as going out and getting a job, but there are a few key differences. With a job, you do not control your own schedule. But as a gig worker, you have full control over when you work as well as how long you work. To name a few options here, you have Uber, DoorDash, TaskRabbit, and Amazon Flex. And for most of these opportunities, all you need is a smartphone and a method of transportation. But if you don't have a car, you can tap into a digital freelance marketplace by leveraging sites like Upwork and Fiverr. There are millions of freelancers out there who complete simple tasks and projects in a fully remote manner, and you could become one of them. On Upwork, for example, you could create your own listing to advertise your service, or you can look at existing opportunities that you could tap into immediately. As long as you have a laptop, an internet connection, and some free time on your hands, that's all that's required for this business. At the end of the day, failure does not have to be part of the equation when it comes to starting your own business. While some businesses are inherently more risky, there are countless opportunities out there with little to no risk. And a common theme with these low-risk business ideas is that they tend to be the boring business ideas that people overlook. But you should definitely not overlook them, because a boring business with a low failure rate is a lot better than a trendy business that has a very high rate of failure. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, as well as hit the bell for all future notifications. You can click below to watch my video on the best business ideas you can run from your phone, and I'll see you there.